There has been some massive news around a Canadian dual national who currently plays in the English Premier League. And unfortunately, it is not Burnley's Luca Koleosho, but it is another player who is down in the relegation battle in the Premier League, and it is a side who has already been relegated in Sheffield United with the Canadian dual national of Daniel Jebbison. The exciting, talented number 9 and striker who is only 20 years old in Daniel Jebbison has unfortunately missed all of this season down to a horrible injury, so he has not featured in this season's Premier League. But Daniel Jebbison has come to an interesting point in his Sheffield United career, as his contract is now running down with the Blades, and if it doesn't get extended or re-signed with Sheffield United, he will be becoming a free agent this summer. And Sheffield United's manager in Chris Wilder was in a press conference this morning and asked a very interesting question around some of his players whose contracts are running down, and ultimately was asked about the Canadian dual nationals contract situation with the Blades and with Sheffield United. And it was very interesting to see his response when asked about Daniel Jebbison's contract situation and if he will be re-signing with the club. As Chris Wilder, the manager, did go on to say this: "We've offered a really strong contract to him. The vibe right the way through has been positive between myself, his family, and Dan. We feel this is the best place for him to play his football, but until we get the signature on the contract, we have to keep plowing on and keep moving forward. But hopefully it's another we can sign off on in the next 48 to 72 hours. And that is incredibly interesting. 48 to 72 hours, so Chris Wilder would love to see a decision around Daniel Jebbison very soon. In the next few days, Daniel Jebbison will see an interesting point in his career, as he could be looking to find a new club for the first time in his footballing career, as Daniel Jebbison now could be leaving Sheffield United on a free transfer, which I find extremely interesting, because for me, he's coming off the back of a horrible injury, and this is a Sheffield United side that are going to make some huge changes going back down to the Championship. And this is a manager in Chris Wilder who has done some phenomenal things with the Blades in the past, and it's quite obvious Chris Wilder is a diehard Blade supporter. He is a diehard fan of the club and has done some brilliant stuff in the past with Sheffield United just a few seasons ago, and has kind of had an underwhelming season since stepping in as a manager for Paul Heckingbottom this season. But I believe next year, if we see Daniel Jebbison re-sign and extend his deal with Sheffield United going back down to the Championship, albeit it will take time for him to rehabilitate, get fully back into the squad, hit preseason strong, Daniel Jebbison could become a crucial and key part to the Sheffield United side in the Championship. Last year, he had a great season with Sheffield United in the Championship, making 16 appearances, scoring some goals, having some assists. Daniel Jebbison did very well for a young 18-year-old, has missed a full year now, and is now a 20-year-old Canadian dual national, and of course, like I said, most recently represented England at the U20 level. But having that chance to have a full season to rehabilitate now, to hopefully come back in time for preseason, get that fully under the belt, and hit the next year with Sheffield United could be very key for him, because I think he can really become a crucial player under Chris Wilder's side in the Championship. Championship has been a great league for young, talented players to truly come alive and show their ability, and to even springboard their footballing career back into life, and even earn themselves a bigger move off the back of that, and catch the eye of some bigger clubs in the Premier League, or even the eyes of some other clubs in different leagues across Europe. But ultimately, Daniel Jebbison doesn't just have a huge decision to make in his club career, because the 48 and 72 hours that are coming up will be decisive as well, I think, for his international career. I think right now it's a point for Daniel Jebbison of when he chooses Canada, not if, because I really don't think he breaks into that England national team setup. He's now 20 years old. He's missed a full season in the Premier League. Once again, he was not able to prove himself in the top flight, and that's no fault to his own. That's not down to his quality. That was just simply down to him being injured. Nothing he could do about that. But breaking into that English national team setup at a position like number 9 at striker is arguably one of the most difficult positions to break into in that England national team. You got Harry Kane, arguably the best player in world football in any position. You got the likes of Ivan Toney, an elite striker. You got Ollie Watkins, the best player in the Premier League this season, up top. You have some tremendous talent, and that's not even talking about the rest of the players who can play up top for England. So looking at that, Daniel Jebbison just isn't breaking into that English national team setup. He's hinted at a move to Canada and committing for the national team, but he's yet to fully commit to Canada. So I think choosing Sheffield United could be key to his national team interest and success, because of course it's a crucial time for Canada with our program right now, because you got to look at what Canada is doing. We're looking to appoint a manager for the most important time in this program's history, for the Copa America, for a side set to take Canada to their own World Cup and a home World Cup. And I think the next manager could be crucial. Whether it's Jesse Marsch, whether it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Paul Clement, Aitor Karanka, we're down to basically a Final Four shortlist. And I think if you get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if you get the likes of Jesse Marsch, those managers are going to attract dual national players to come to Canada. And I think once we get this manager, we're going to see certain players pop up that we've never heard about. Certain players that finally commit to Canada. I think maybe even Luca Koleosho could get that final push to come to Canada. We've seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer get the best out of a lot of players at United, find goal-scoring boots out of a lot of players at United. And even Jesse Marsch is an unbelievable manager. So I think if Daniel Jebbison makes the right decision going into his contract talks and gets first-team football and can consistently show how good he is at the top level, and yes, albeit the championship is the second division of English football, it is the best second division in world football. Don't get me wrong, there's some great second divisions out there, whether it's the Bundesliga 2, whether it's La Liga 2, there's some great divisions out there, but none compared to the championship. It is one of the most physically demanding leagues, it is one of the most fitness demanding leagues, and it is absolutely an exciting filled roller coaster of adrenaline. And you can get so much out of your footballing career, and I think if Daniel Jebbison can find himself a starting role or a key piece at Sheffield United, it'll be huge for his Canadian place as well, or to show that he's ready to commit to Canada, because up top for Canada, it's not an easy position to get into the squad either. You have Jonathan David, one of the most top and elite strikers in world football. You have Calderin, still scoring in Spain, although not starting as much, and he is still aging, so Daniel Jebbison would be a shoo-in to come in and take his place. You have the likes of Ike Ugbo killing it in the championship. You have Theo Bair, who is surely on to bigger and better things than Motherwell. No respect to Motherwell. He has had a phenomenal season there. But albeit, Canada's no joke or pushed aside to break into our number 9 position right now. So Daniel Jebbison, he is coming off a year-long injury where he hasn't played any football. If he leaves Sheffield United in the next 48 to 72 hours, which is going to be extremely telling for his contractual situation, if he leaves and walks on a free deal, he needs to find a spot where he is starting for himself, for his club career, and ultimately to be showing that he should be earning a spot at a national team level. Because right now, he's not going to break into the English national side. And for me, with Daniel Jebbison, the next 48 to 72 hours is crucial to get a starting role, whether it's to confirm he can get a starting role or a rotational role next year in the championship with Sheffield United, because there's so many matches in that league, or to find a starting role at a different club, whether it's abroad, in Belgium, in Holland, or whether it's a starting role for another club in the likes of the championship, or even a rotational role for a piece that is coming up to the Premier League. Daniel Jebbison has to find a role where he consistently gets minutes or starts for a side, and that was huge for his personal career coming back from a major injury, for his club career, and to commit to a national team. Because Canada is looking like the side that he's going to be choosing, because I don't see a possibility or a way he breaks into the England team. So for me right now, the managerial appointment is huge for Canada, and it'll be very telling to see where Daniel Jebbison ends up in the next 48 to 72 hours, as Chris Wilder points out it could be within the next few days if they figure out the situation around Daniel Jebbison's contract. It's huge news around the Canadian dual national and his massive situation around his contract. Would you like to see him stick at Sheffield United? Would you like to see him move? What would you guys like to see Daniel Jebbison do? And ultimately, do you think Daniel Jebbison will choose Canada? Because I'm in the boat right now. Either play and put on our kit and commit to Canada, or go play for someone else and play for the badge, because we want players at Canada, or I do personally, who will wear that Maple Leaf, will wear it with pride, and fully show they're committed to the Maple Leafs. Let me know who you guys want to see Daniel Jebbison end up at, and will he end up with the Canadian national team as well. But I'll of course be staying right up on the Daniel Jebbison news. If there is reports on him signing the contract, finding a new team, we will be on it. So make sure to let me know your guys' thoughts on the video, on the content. I love to hear you guys' response. But make sure to drop a like and hit the sub button, because we are at 281 subscribers and getting very close to that 300 mark. And also have a Matthew Chouanier video coming up today. Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.